From wherever in the world you are joining us, welcome to the Great British Mickey Waffle. I'm Jill, and today we are going to go back to basics. We're thinking about planning a trip in the most magical place on earth. Now, before we begin, I would like to introduce my fellow wafflers. We have John. Good. Hello, John.
Hiya, Jill. It's March. It's St. David's Day, no less.
Yay! I know. And we have Becca. Hi, Becca.
Hello. I think I prefer St. Nick's Day, I'm going to be honest.
Get ready. We have Ben. Hi, Ben.
Hello. I can't believe it's March already. This year is flying by.
And we have Claire. Hi, Claire.
Hi, Jill. You okay?
Yeah, pretty
I feel
good.
like I should be saying Borodar because that's
Indeed.
day for it, wasn't it?
And we have Borodar. Very good. Yes, I am. And we have my beloved next to me, the wonderful Peter.
Dawi St. Happis.
Indeed. Now,
That sounded
for
like
those
you
of
were
you,
speaking backwards. You know when this is one of those podcasts and you play it backwards.
Oh, we should do that one day.
We could do a
for
on the
those,
show.
for those of you who,
else.
Maybe on the 1st of April, we should do that as like just a backwards episode. We'll just put it out there.
Oh my word!
oh,
Just for the day, I want them release the proper
Yeah.
one on the second.
Actually,
Once it gets half
was it not-
12, once it gets after
Yeah.
12 o'clock, midday, we'll release
did the
real one.
Beatles? Did the Beatles not try that for like part
Yeah.
of the track, and they were
Yes.
they were accused of being on all kinds of drugs and things like that.
Accused.
Maybe, yeah, maybe, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
I think.
Moving on.
oh. So for those of you who are wondering what the heck we're talking about, Peter and I are in Wales, and the 1st of March is St. David's Day, the patron saint of Wales. So we celebrate with leeks and daffodils and Welsh cakes and exciting things like that. But also for the whole of the UK, it's the end of winter.
Yep.
That's exciting.
Hurrah.
And we're going to hear more about things that our minds turn to in the days of spring. But first, if you listen to our February episode, you'll know that we started a new series. We've been looking at some Imagineering icons of Disney. See what we did there? Ben started us off with a good look at the career of Joe Rohde. And now it's Becca's turn to tell us all about Tony Baxter.
Tony Baxter is a renowned Disney engineer who has left an indelible mark on the theme park industry. Born on February 1st, 1947 in Los Angeles, California, Baxter's fascination with Disneyland began at a young age. He would visit the theme parks frequently as a child, developing a keen interest in its attractions and immersive experiences. Baxter's career at Disney began in 1965 when he took a job as an ice cream scooper at Disneyland. His passion for theme park design and innovation soon caught the attention of Disney executives, leading him to join the WED Enterprises team, later to become Walt Disney Engineering in 1970 at the age of 23. His breakthrough came with the design and development of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, which would open in 1979 at Disneyland. The thrilling mine train roller coaster became an instant classic, showcasing Baxter's talent for blending storytelling with innovative ride technology. Throughout the 1980s and 90s, Baxter played a pivotal role in creating some of Disney's most beloved attractions, including Star Tours, Splash Mountain and Indiana Jones, as well as working on the Journey into Imagination Pavilion at Epcot, which opened in 1983. This led to the creation of one of Disney's best-loved characters, Figment. His ability to merge cutting-edge technology with rich narratives helped redefine the theme park experience, setting new standards for immersive entertainment. In 1994, Baxter led the development of Disneyland Paris, serving as the creative lead for the park's design and attractions. His contributions to the project earned him widespread acclaim and solidified his reputation as a visionary in the industry. Baxter continued to influence Disney theme parks well into the 21st century, overseeing projects such as Finding Nemo's Submerging Voyage in 2007 and the Sleeping Beauty Castle walkthrough in 2008. He would also return to reimagine previously worked on attractions such as Star Tours The Adventure Continues, which opened in 2011. He retired from full-time Disney Imagineering in 2013, but remained active as a consultant and advisor, sharing his experiences with the next generation of Imagineers. Tony Baxter's impact on the world of theme parks is immeasurable. His innovative designs, creative vision and dedication to storytelling have left a lasting legacy that continue to inspire Disney fans and theme park enthusiasts around the globe.
Thanks, Becca. That's amazing. So much in one career. And for me, it's his work on Disneyland Paris that stands out. The level of detail that's there. I've seen a video where he came back a few years ago and he walked around and basically talked people through the ideas behind all the various areas. And it's just fascinating to see what goes through someone's mind and the way they think things up.
For me, Joe, I think it's all the work, and from when you think how current it is now, talking about Splash Mountain and all of the work that went into that, and how that's changed to now Tiana's Bio Adventure, from a new sort of project of Imagineers doing something different with what previously was Splash Mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's laying the ground is the big thing he did. He kind of changed quite a lot, and he got the foundations going for what we know as Imagineering today.
John, I can see that you're very much an admirer of everyone's favourite purple dragon there.
Well, I just thought, as if you listen to the podcast, I am actually wearing my Figment t-shirt, and I've got to say I'm a massive admirer of what Tony Baxter's done. And I would reiterate what we just said there, because actually having the foresight to design things that now are in the second incarnation, given the fact I still loved Splash Mountain, given the fact that I will still always love what Splash Mountain was, irrespective of whatever people's other views are, etc., to actually have put that into a park, to be able to put Big Thunder into a park, and actually to have that complete foresight to realize that what you're doing is taking, if you think about when Big Thunder actually went into Magic Kingdom, it moved your theme park experience on massively. If you look at what Splash Mountain did, when that came into Magic Kingdom, it changed the experience. It actually added so much into Magic Kingdom that previously was probably what a lot of people were looking for, that kind of thrill element to it. He knew what was going to appeal to people. He knew how to think about it in the first place, to get it actually made and how to see it through. And I think the whole Paris part of it, I think really is the standout bit for me, because as an Imagineer, irrespective of creating rides, it's that whole thing about having your name stamped beside the creation of a park. And I think that is something I think, he's really quite in that sort of higher echelon. I know last month we talked about Joe Roddy, but with Tony Baxter, I think it's the same thing, isn't it? It's following in Walt's. You follow in Walt's footsteps, and you're creating the things that Walt never had the chance to do. And I take my hat off, because he, in some ways, I think lots of people don't recognise what Tony Baxter's about and what he's actually created, and never will. For the whole reason we did a whole show about Joe Roddy. It's just like Tony Baxter only gets part of this one, but it's the same thing. He's deserving of his. He's deserving of his
He's a Disney
legacy.
legend.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
It's the only way.
Literally, yes. Yeah.
The only way to describe it.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating that he hasn't pigeonholed himself into any specific type of attraction. So he's done, he did Big Thunder Mountain, he did Splash Mountain. He's been involved. He designed the land pavilion, people, and was really, part of the creative team for the Seas, and had some ideas that didn't quite come off. But he had the idea for the Coral Reef restaurant and designed that. And then the Imagination Pavilion and the original ImageWorks and all of that stuff, that was all Tony Baxter. And the thing I love about him is every time you see a photo of him, he is smiling. This guy looks he looks like he's enjoying what he did, what he's done in the past, what he does now.
Yeah.
And he is still there as a guiding light, really, in consultancy process. But he just genuinely looks like he's having fun and developing new ideas. And that, for me, is what Imagineering is all about. It's about making the thing that isn't possible come to life.
Yeah.
And when you think about
pushing that envelope and using the technology, and just I remember watching on
let's find a way to do it.
Imagineering story when there was a bit about Star Tours, and just seeing what they were going to do, how they were going to use something to try and replicate being in Star Wars. In Star Wars, it was just incredible. A rider vehicle
found that technology.
I love it. When they have like the little model and they're going, how can we look at this? This is what we want to do. It doesn't exist. Let's make it exist. Let's have it. And Tony Baxter has been so influential in so many different iterations of that process. I just, he's somebody who, and Disneyland Paris thrown in there, just, casually thrown into,
did that while he was at it.
This guy's still around. He would definitely be part of the people. If you could do Diamond Imagineer, he would be right up there for me in terms of people just to talk to and say, how on earth did you come up with that idea, and how did you make it happen? From this.
They should do a VIP tour where he could take you around Disneyland Paris.
Can you imagine?
How much
him and Lee Cockrell? That would be amazing. I would be all in for that. It would be like the cost of Club 33. I mean, like buying Club 33, not Club 33. That would just be the most amazing thing, to have just half an hour chatting to him. But I Becca, you threw out some highlights. So this was like casually throw a few things in.
Just I didn't have time to go through his whole itinerary.
I know, but it's just,
just the casual.
I also think as well that there must have been that element of trust from the Disney Corporation, because when you look at how he's been responsible for the redesign of so much of Disneyland. And you would imagine sort of that whole bit of, well, we'll pass it on to you. I'm not sure I like to have been in his shoes at the time. It's just like, if you make a mess of this, you're actually messing with proper Disney history, aren't you? And it's not letting go of what Walt actually saw in the first place. And that, for me, even thinking about it now, I'm thinking, oh my word,
dangerous territory, isn't it?
What a responsibility that must have been,
Did you see the footage of when Splash Mountain in California closed and he went up there and they presented him with like I think it was the board, the plaque at the entrance to the ride, and they presented that with that as a gift, and it's just like, that's something that, you know, can you imagine going, this was mine.
Wow.
And he's been involved. That mountain was mine, you know, and he's been involved in Tiana and the you know, the rebirth of that. And I think that, it must be incredible just to turn around and walk around somewhere and go, I designed that. That was all mine. That came from my brain. How cool is that?
And getting people in the right place to help you with that project, because as we spoke about Joe Roddy last month, it's not something you can do on your own. You can have that vision, you can have the idea, but then you need the right people in the right place to make that reality.
And be able to communicate that vision as well to a point where, because everyone's coming with a different skill set, everyone's coming with a different lens to view the project with, to have the ability to explain that so that each different person, whether it be the artistic team, the costuming team, the engineer who's putting the bricks and mortar down, or the Disney concrete, or the Disney grass and all of that stuff, to be able to explain to them what it needs to look like and how it's going to work and what the guest experience is going to be at the end of it. That's incredible.
And why those trees are outside Sleeping Beauty's castle in Disneyland Paris?
Why are they square?
Because
Mary Blair drew them square.
Right. Need that on a t-shirt, Claire.
Mary Blair made them square.
How is that not Disneyland Paris merch? Come on.
These videos that we're doing and these spots on Imagineers are just so good. I'm really looking forward to the next one. I won't tell you who I'm doing for mine, but it's going to be fun. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh.
Now, as we said earlier, it is now the 1st of March, and we can say an official goodbye to winter in the UK anyway. And when the rain stops long enough to see the spring flowers peeping through the ground, hearts begin to lift. And even if, like me, you are not someone who enjoys the idea of summer and sun and all things hot, you still start to think about future holiday plans. Where am I going to go this year? What am I going to do? So, if you're planning a trip to Walt Disney World, where do you start? One of the things I thought about was, what time of year do you go? Obviously, if you are tied to school holidays, you don't have quite the freedom that you might do. But still, there are times of year that you might prefer. There are seasons you might prefer. There are events you might prefer. So, guys, what do we all think? What are the first considerations that come to mind when we think, when shall I go? Apart from tomorrow.
You already mentioned it about weather. Because weather you always think of Florida. You think it's the sunshine state. Oh, I want to go when it's sunny. That's what everyone wants.
It's always sunny.
Not always. Sometimes you have rain. It is pretty much. You're going to get some sunshine.
Hot, hotter, or hottest.
That's a great way. That's a great way of describing it. I love that. Yeah.
Unless you go in December, like Jill's.
Specifically when we're going. Yes,
But I think whether we always talk about like going in certain months, so May, sort of.
May's quite nice. You probably want to avoid kind of the middle of summer because it's very hot, and then you have hurricane season,
which goes from June all the way to mid-November.
So you're really not going to miss hurricane season.
It's like you can't do.
I'm never going to be able to guarantee that.
No way.
Single day is sunny, not too hot, just enough hot. Sunny, but not too sunny, not too
rain.
humid,
A little bit of rain's cool you down a bit.
It just doesn't happen.
It's full. Yeah, it's full.
Stop being British about this and just carry on regardless.
And if it rains when you're in the park, do not leave.
Yeah,
let everyone else.
Absolutely. Yep.
Because how many
times
we've been
in of Chinese whispers about this? There's loads of Chinese whispers about. Don't go on this time. Don't go on this time. Don't do this. Don't.
The third Thursday in June is the hot.
Yeah.
Only after 3:00.
Yeah.
Facing west.
The truth is,
yeah.
When it comes to the weather, there is no bad time to go.
No. If you get a
No.
chance to go to Florida, go to Walt
No.
Disney World, it's the best time. Just go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it, Ben.
Yeah.
I was told before my first ever visit, right? I don't do the sun particularly well. And that's including the newspaper as well, I hasten to add. Yeah, just thought I'd get that out. I'd get that out there for people who know me, right? But the very first time we went, it was like before we had kids, and it was like, oh, you'll fry if you go in the summer. So we went at Christmas, right? We loved it. It was absolutely perfect. So when we had kids, we then went at Christmas because we thought, oh, well, that's the best time to go because it'll suit us. And actually, it didn't suit us because we couldn't go for long enough due to holidays from work. So we then thought, well, I'll tell you what, let's be daring. Let's go in August. Let's see what happens. See if we get blown away by a hurricane or whatever. No, we're still here. And actually,
So you've lived to tell the tale.
yeah, and it's more pleasant. It's actually, I find August in Florida far more pleasant than going to Spain or Greece at that time of year. I don't know why, but it is more. You can deal with it. The heat and the humidity. It's not even that, Ben. I don't know what it is. The heat and the humidity is nothing in comparison to how you fry when you go to Greece and Spain.
I think it's because you're doing stuff, John. I think because you're active, you're
Maybe.
going around.
I'm not just lying by the pool all day.
John in Spain or Greece, he's like lying by the pool or the lounge on the beach,
becoming a lobster,
drink, just roasting away with his chip fat body oil, and his budgie smugglers. That's what happens when you goes from Greece.
Oh, my eyes.
But John, when you're at Walt Disney World, you're walking down, you're up early, you're walking past everyone that's gone for breakfast at Crystal Palace, you can get on Space Mountain.
Yeah, he's just like laughing at everyone else queuing to go and see the characters. He's there en route.
The worst thing about it, I go to Spain or Greece before we had kids. I'd come back and get a tan when I got home because we hadn't even seen sunlight for 2 weeks. It was just like it was nightclubbing, and then when the sun comes up, it's time to go to bed. That was it.
I think there is something to say for the fact that you are occupied. You're not actually focusing on the weather because you're thinking about the experience you're having. You're going on attractions. You're watching shows. You're having fun touring resorts. You're doing stuff, and you're not going. Actually, I'm sitting here and I'm roasting. And it's unpleasant because you're going in and out of air conditioning. You know what? I think there is something
you manage it. Totally manage it. Yeah.
And if
Claire, you're a big fan of August as well, aren't you?
I am. I really like August, and I don't mind the heat. I'm not somebody who has an issue with high temperatures. I've been to Dubai in July. It's like 48 degrees. It doesn't actually bother me too much. I get hot. But I get hot, so what? I might sweat a bit. Okay. I'll have a cold drink and a fan and go into some air conditioning and I'll be cool. It'll be okay. And I've been to Florida several times in August, many times, and I'm still here to tell the tale. And actually, I think there is something about mindset. If you go thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to be unbearably hot and I'm not going to enjoy it, then you will feel it's unbearably hot and you won't enjoy it. Whereas if you go and go, do you know what? The temperature's going to be hotter than at home. That's what I wanted when I went on holiday to somewhere in this tropical climate.
Yep.
And that's why Walt Disney World's in Florida. Just as a hint, people, it's there so that it's warm during the year.
Yeah.
I waited for moan about Universal when it opens in the UK and they moan it's not as warm as Florida.
Oh, don't, Ben. I bet
they will.
Are they going to put a water ride in?
I hope not. It'll be like Frozen. It'll be like an icicle ride.
Yeah.
Becca, have you been in August?
No. September's the closest we've been.
September and June and
June.
September's
quite hot.
Yeah.
I think it's always quite hot unless you're there with Peter and Jill. So I think I just even in
I love it.
Even December, January, it's still 18 degrees during the day and 10 to 12 centigrade. In the evenings, you might need to put a hoodie on. It's never really that cold.
No.
So
That's bearable.
I would say we've had one experience when it's been freezing.
Generally, a winter day in Florida is a summer day in the UK.
Yeah.
Could this be a more British discussion? I just laugh.
I know, I know.
We're talking about the weather, people.
Well, this is the Great British Mickey Waffle.
I know.
Yeah.
Spent 10 minutes
Before we start
discussing
talking
the
about tea.
The weather. So let's flip to the other side of the consideration then. Peter, you and I are not fans of the heat. We like Olaf, we would like to have our own personal flurry. But we found some times of year that it's good to go, haven't we?
Largely beginning in the end of the year, so November, December, and we're hopefully going to do January soon.
Yeah.
And that's good time of the year. Like Claire says, it's not too cold, but it's not too hot. Although, as you know, the first year that we went, it was. But I'm a moderate weather person. I really don't like hot weather, and Jill really does not do well in very hot weather.
Yeah. It literally makes me ill.
It makes me ill.
Yeah.
The Goldilocks of the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too cold.
It's too cold.
That's right.
Also, mostly very little rain.
Very little. Yeah.
So quite often you'll go for days with no rain, which is nice.
Yeah.
We once went in May 2017. We didn't have a single shower when we were out there. As in, weather shower, not.
Yeah. You want to make that clear then.
Just to make that clear.
You had bath, didn't you? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think there is something about school holidays. School holidays vary.
Definitely.
If you're in Scotland, you get them 6 weeks earlier, which is quite nice. So you get July through to August, whereas in England and Wales, you get most of August and a little bit of July.
Yeah.
And I think it also depends on the age of your children. Depending on, preschool age, then hopefully you don't need to go during that busy season. The reason that I think the school holiday period is the most difficult, it's not because of the weather, it's because of the price of flight. That's the thing.
Especially when you book 1 week before and you go, I can go for this price, and then you realise summer holidays, you look at the calendar, it's
no,
too
I can't.
old.
Yeah.
It's like,
and that's the main challenge in terms of the school holiday period. It is the price hike that happens. And that's not just about flights to Orlando. That's the same if you're going to any of the well-known forest type parks in the UK where you might have activities to do and you stay in a cabin, or if you were flying off to Greece or Spain to join John and his
exactly the same.
It's not just like the accommodation. It's like the flight's more expensive, the tickets are more expensive. It's a whole thing to think about. And when you
can I also twist that a little bit as well, because we talked about traveling with young children. And again, once you come to August, and it is imperative that as a parent, if you are the type of person you go for 2 weeks and you've planned so many things to do, and you suddenly realise that on day 3, your child is becoming kind of quite tetchy and quite sort of, I'm trying to think of the polite way of saying this.
Irritable.
There you go. Thank you, Becca. That's a nice way. That's a nice way of describing it. You have to take account that your child is adapting to either jet lag, the heat, the change of diet, the lack of
sensory overload.
It is such a massive thing. I know. I take great delight in this. I always said this in a few of our shows, be it live on a Wednesday or in previous podcasts. When you're seeing a child having a meltdown and you're just walking past, yep, happiest place on earth, and we just keep walking.
We do that too now.
We've been there with the kids like that, and you just have to slow the pace down for your child. Listen to actually what they need, and don't just keep going with the itinerary and just leave your child's feelings and what your child's actually telling you. Yeah, they just want a bit of sleep and stuff. And that is basically it for it, because there's so much there when you actually allow your child to go and explore. There's so much there that you can't fail to have a good time. But
John, I think that also applies for adults as well.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Day 3 men's very irritable.
Yeah.
Especially if we're at Epcot and trying to find something to eat.
Yes.
No, I think we've all found that there comes a point when you look at your plan and you think, actually, no, I just want to crash out and
It's usually day
and
4
relax
or
for a
day
bit.
5.
Yeah.
You
And
just
that's
kind of look at it
fine.
and go, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I just want
The
to go back
holiday police
to-
do not exist.
I think it depends on what you do, because sometimes you use the jet lag on his first few days to be up early, get straight in the park. You were better off actually taking that first day to have a slightly more relaxing day, but you are up at 3, 4, 5 a.m. because of jet lag.
Yeah.
So
We've never done that.
Yeah, roll with it.
Yeah.
No, it's just
fireworks on the first night.
Yeah.
I will
We've
make
done that.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
3 a.m. Googling how to use the coffee machine.
Yeah,
Yes.
front row of the car park on the first day is the first morning, isn't it? Yeah, it's just like, come on, we're going to be first in the park.
That's an
there is something that people don't seem to take into account. I think that basically most people don't know, and that is events, not big events like the food festival or anything like that, but other events. Like the first year we went was the cheer festival, and lots of our place was surrounded by cheerleaders.
February every year.
No, it was actually December.
It was December. They had a cheer festival in December. Yeah,
it was actually December, and we discovered when we got there, very, very late at night after a very delayed flight, that we were surrounded by cheerleaders, and we thought, oh boy, it's going to be, kids running in and out of each other's rooms and shrieking with laughter and banging the doors, and oh boy, no.
They were very polite.
My goodness, they were the politest kids you could ever meet.
Do you know what? That's a really good point.
It was just Peter who was slamming the doors and running around.
I think that's a really good point though, because people assume that when they're there with the cheer festival or any of those types of school competition things that happen, or that it is going to be chaos. It's going to be a nightmare. And of course, there's downtime where the kids are having fun and they're using the pool and stuff. But at the end of the day, they are there to go to the ESPN and to compete in a serious competition. So they are not up late. They are not running around. They are there, and they all are really serious about what they're doing, whether that be, marching bands or cheer festivals. So I think that people perhaps have a misunderstanding of it's not a holiday. They're there for competing.
I think the only
I think we mentioned it
when you get to like food courts and things. If you get there at the wrong time,
yes, it's full.
When we checked in, our lovely cast member told us this is the time that they tend to all go for breakfast, so you might want to avoid that time. This is where the park they're going to on their last night, which is this night. So they will tell you all these things. Yeah,
and I think I mentioned it before. We accidentally got one of the letters through our door that they get from the schools.
Oh, well, you accidentally
got one.
Were you talking to Peter?
There was Peter with his pom-poms the next morning, ready to take part.
Yeah. It was along the lines of, you misbehave and you're letting yourself down, you're letting the school down, you're letting the world down. It was really tough.
Oh, yeah.
Well, come along and we'll kidnap your hamster. Yeah.
Really seriously, yeah.
But no, it was great. And I think the other thing as well, people worry about crowds. There is no quiet time now these days. I think Disney has been very clever in maximizing all its previous quiet times and making sure that people are attracted any time of year. But we've never found it a real problem.
No.
There are the odd day that you might want to steer clear when there's a half marathon happening in the park or a big event or whatever. But again, you can look those up. They're well known. You can choose to do your shopping that day or have a pool day or whatever.
Also, now
and holidays.
Back, if it's busy in one park, you can easily hop to another.
Yep, absolutely.
A lot of websites will have crowd calendars, and they're not as accurate as they used to be due to COVID, but they're still a good guide.
Yeah, they give you
to kind of, okay, we're expecting this one to be quite busy for whatever reason. because for the past 5 years, it's been fairly busy this day.
Yeah.
So you'll know just to maybe avoid that one or go to one of the ones that are expected to be a bit quieter.
And there's natural ebbs and flows to the park capacity as well. When you look at, lots of people will go to Hollywood Studios on a Saturday. Lots of people go to Epcot on a Saturday. So you might want to avoid them and then go during the week.
Yeah.
I think, and Magic Kingdom, weekends generally are really busy, apart from Animal Kingdom, it seems. But yeah, I think that when you look at the crowd calendars and you compare them on different websites, they're very consistent in terms of like Monday at Magic Kingdom is actually quite a good day because lots of people transit in and out on a Monday. So I think,
and it's like the impact when you have, if you go later in the year and go from like August through to December, you've got the parties, so Halloween and Christmas. So actually being in Magic Kingdom on a day it closes early actually is more beneficial, or the day after.
Dead in the morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if you have a one-day ticket, you're not going to use Magic Kingdom as that day to use up your one ticket when you know it's closing early.
Halloween party or Christmas party day in if you're not going to the party but you want to use that day as a park day, definitely use it for a Magic Kingdom day, because you can still get in at 7:30 in the morning if you're on site. And the crowds, I don't think that the last few times I've done that.
It's about 3
it's
o'clock, I think.
It starts to warm up about 1-ish. And by 3 o'clock, it's busier, but then 4 o'clock, obviously, people can get in for the party. So, but there's a transition point between 4 and 6 where there's some coming, some going. But generally, the whole day until 1 or 2 in the afternoon, the place is like
totally
a ghost town.
Yeah.
And you can smash
don't tell everyone.
Yes.
It's one of those. It is one of those moments.
Yeah.
It is.
This point, Ben and Becca's camera completely
Has
collapsed.
died. That's all right. Carry on. They can see it.
It's weird. It's
don't need
To book another holiday. It's fine.
That's what they're doing. They've just gone up to
So
I'm
gonna nick the script from you a little bit, Jill, because actually I think it's a really important bit, and it's that question about how long do you go, and going back to the actual planning bit, because everything else we're going to talk about, I'm going to steal so much information about, but this is the length of your trip is one thing that certainly from my experiences, we've been for like 10 days. In the first instance, which was a bit full on, but we've actually enjoyed a 5-week trip in the past, and that for us was one of the most memorable experiences of actually being away from home for such a long time and having that ability to just take everything nice and slow, but do as many different things as you could.
Yeah,
and there isn't any right or wrong, and that's the best thing. That's what I'm really want to get to in this. Is we've now said there's no right or wrong at what time of year that you're going to go, but there's no right or wrong as to your length of trip either. And I think from a planning point of view, I think people need to understand that you call the shots. It's not the travel agent. It's not the fact that you have to go for 7 days or 14 days or 21 days, depending on your ticket or anything like that. It is purely on the fact that you choose how long you want to go for and how long you can afford to go for. And again, we'll probably come to that in a bit as regarding accommodation, etc. But that for me is such a, I think my mantra has always been, if I'm paying for flights and the return flights, I'm going to max out my value and I'm going to stay as long as I can. It's just
it's amazing. We've done a few shorter trips, and it's amazing how much stuff you can fit in to 7 nights when you have no sleep.
Yeah.
I think it depends who you're going with as well. So if you're going with people young, old, just preference, who don't want to do park open close, who don't want to max out the time, who are happy to go back and have a sleep in the afternoon, have a little siesta, whatever it looks like for you and the people that you're traveling with, then you might want to think about a slightly longer trip. Whereas I'm aware that when I go on my own, as a solo trip, 5 nights, which is, 5.5 days in the parks. It is absolutely sufficient for me to go and really feel like I've had a break. I feel like I've had a proper trip away, and I probably come back having done more in those 5 days than I would have done in 2 weeks with my family.
Yeah.
Because I'm not doing the same type of trip. I'm not taking the same breaks. I'm not stopping for meals and things like that. I'm just doing what I want to do. So I think depending who you're traveling with, it really,
I think that's
not,
spot on,
as the case may be.
Spot on.
That makes a big difference to how long you need to be there for.
Yeah.
If you're with someone who potentially might not walk very quickly, or is going to, they're going to rent an ECV and like give you a lift across the park, even better. Thinking about those types of things, actually that will have an effect on how quickly you may or may not wish to cover the parks, and therefore that just needs just a moment of thought when you're booking when you're thinking the length of your trip.
And especially when you're just using Disney transport.
Yeah.
That adds 3 weeks to any trip.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it can take a while to get from one park to another.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
I mean, it's interesting that our American listeners may find it fascinating that for Brits, the average tends to be 10 to 14 days, which, obviously the average American trip is more like 4 or 5 days. We've got a longer way to come, so we're jolly well going to make it count.
Not necessarily. It depends what part of the States you're coming from.
Well, yes.
One side to the other, that could be a 5-hour trip.
It could, yes.
Or you could drive down and it take you 3 days.
Yes. But we tend to have special offers on our Disney tickets, so that a lot of the time, in fact, most of the time, you can get 14 days for the price of 7 days. And boy, do we use them.
Yes.
Interesting. The price of like a 5-day ticket in the US is about the same price as a 14-day.
It's not. You know what, Ben?
Well, I'm
going to correct you just because.
Yeah. Is it more expensive? No.
Controversy.
I looked this up yesterday. So I was doing a bit of background work for a little trip I'm taking in June, the shortest trip I'm ever going to take, which is 3 nights. When I drop Morgan off. That sounds ridiculous. Accompany Morgan to be his shopping mule at Target in June when he moves over for the DCP.
Birds flying.
Yeah, right. So I costed up park ticket for him. 14-night UK park ticket was £509.
Yeah.
A 3-night US ticket, which is valid actually for 5 days, 6 days. I think you can use only 3 out of 6. So, but it's only 3 days, not park hopping. Oh no, it was a park hopping ticket. Sorry, I apologize. That was $565.
Wow. Yes.
So the difference was about 20 quid. 14 days, which is usable for 18 nights, with all park hopping, memory maker, water parks, mini golf, all of that stuff. Or 3 days in the parks with nothing else. Ended up
and there's 14 can be used over 18.
Yeah, right. Claire, so it makes insane.
I've got visions of anyone who listened to this show in the US currently thinking, oh my word, we need to go to the UK and get ourselves tickets from the UK to go to Disney World. Because it's
there
crazy.
Are US travel agents that can buy UK tickets. Yeah. There are US travel agents that will purchase UK tickets for people if you ask them. They won't offer it, but they can do. So I certainly had a conversation with a travel agent in the US who we've used previously and said, can't you buy UK tickets? Because she's like, I'll get you. And I was like, no, I don't want those tickets because they're really expensive and they don't give us what we want. And she went, let me have a look. And she was like, oh no, I can buy the UK tickets. I just don't think that people realise that you can.
And I'm wondering whether it's because if you're buying a US sort of package, it comes with the US tickets and the package and all of that bundles revolve. If you want like the dining and the thing, you have to buy that.
I'm always gobsmacked by how much the price of the hotel drops when you say no ticket. And it
Yeah,
literally, it's less than half the price. I'm like, how is the ticket so expensive?
Yeah.
You know, I think we are a little bit spoiled in terms of our tickets that we have.
Yeah.
But
We're very lucky.
Insane cost comparison, you know, 3 days.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that really needs to be taken into consideration as well, because we're kind of pre-investing with flight prices, accommodation prices, etc. And so the ticket bit, if that bumped itself to an extent that we were paying US prices, I actually don't think I don't think the UK and European market would actually put themselves in that position. It would just be a non-starter. So I can understand where therein lies where that sort of pricing strategy comes from.
Yeah.
I think the length of stay also, kind of moving on to the next part that we were looking at, also includes whether or not you want to stay just at Disney or whether you want to combine it with somewhere else like Universal.
Yeah.
Or somewhat like that. We tend to spend 2-3 nights at Universal while we're there, just so that we can do the parks. But our main stay will be in fact, what we've tended to do is pay for 14 nights at Disney and then add on 2-3 nights at Universal.
Well, 1 or 2 nights.
One or two nights at Universal.
Yeah.
So we're actually paying for a whole Disney trip and a Universal trip.
Yeah.
But it's worked for us.
Yeah. And I think if you've never been before, it's very tempting. You see all these people on various groups and message boards and so on saying, right, so 4 days for Disney, what else can I do?
Yeah.
And you think, you
It
think
depends
it's
how
like
you do Disney. It's okay, I'm in the castle, I'm done.
You think it's like a theme park in the UK, don't you? You think you're going to be round everything and gone and that's it, I'm done. No, it's going to take several days to even scratch the surface of any of the parks, really. If you really do it and you really want to get the most out of your ticket, don't think you're going to.
That's the thing. As we're talking about tickets, I think we've mentioned this before on the podcast, but it's so easy, like you said, Jill, when you see the adverts, you see all the parks, you see SeaWorld, you see Gatorland, you see so much other stuff, and you think, I'm going to go and buy that ticket that has everything on it, and then you think, I've got 2 weeks to get all this in, this is not going to fit. I remember we went for a honeymoon, we had tickets for Aquatica, Busch Gardens, we never got that.
Yeah.
We wasted probably more money having those tickets.
Yeah.
We'd actually just thought what we were going to do with just Disney and Universal. We would then gone, okay, we can spend more time at this park because we're not trying to rush to fit everything in to that short amount of time.
And then
you don't realise how big Orlando is.
No, exactly. And then you throw in specialist things like Discovery Cove. And there, lots of people want to do Discovery Cove. That's something that they save, or they get gifts so they can go and do, people buy them dollars so they can book Discovery Cove. And, if you've got a family of 4 and you're doing the swim package with the dolphin swim, it works out. Yes, it's all inclusive all day, but it works out at best part of £1,000 for a day.
Yeah.
That's 1 day of your holiday, and it's so expensive. I've never done it. I don't know if it's a worthwhile thing. John, have you done Discovery Cove?
You always ask me the question I don't want to answer, Claire.
It's a yes or no. No, it's a yes or no.
Right.
You have, haven't you? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember. You have done it, but not recently.
Yes, we have. And would I ever do it again? No. Because actually, since then, we've been across at the beach and seen dolphins in their actual natural habitat. And at that particular point, we made a decision as a family that we wouldn't do SeaWorld and Discovery Cove ever again.
It wasn't an ethical discussion. It was
for reasons that I don't usually chuck into a podcast.
It's fine.
That's out there as well, because actually, I love Discovery Cove. It was a great day. It was a wonderful day out. But the cost,
it's astronomical.
It's near enough when you think there's a big chunk of covering Universal tickets. It's like £50 more, £100 more is my 14-day Universal tickets.
Yeah.
Where you think 1 day versus 14, where how much do you
upgrade
spend?
it to an annual pass for about $40 more if you're going back in the year.
And we're also in that position, Claire, as well, where, we're now planning for August. We're going for 3 weeks, right? Like it or not, we're looking at the cost of even amalgamating a bit of Universal into this summer's trip. It becomes a very massive outlay for tickets, and for I'd love to go back to Universal. I would love to go and experience it, but actually, for us, it's not going to work because actually the cost is prohibitive. And actually, if you,
I agree.
I think what I'm trying to get to here is you get blinded by you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And actually, I know we keep coming back to this as a podcast, but even if it's your first trip, right, there's that expectation that you invest a bucket load of money into bucket loads of different things, right?
Yeah.
Let's face facts. Once you've been to Florida, you're gonna enjoy it so much. You're gonna go back, right? So let's get that bit out of the way with. So why not make it work and make it work on the premise that the less you do, the more you're going to get out of it. So don't overload yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Less is more.
Yeah.
Less is more. But and especially with tickets, because you're going to have more money to spend. And so
Do you know,
you're in that. It's so hard.
So true, John. But
It's
it's
so
so
hard
hard to explain it.
Yeah. But it's so hard to actually believe it when you're planning your first trip, and you see, well, I've got Disney tickets or I've got Universal tickets, but I'm just a half-hour car drive to this other place I really want to go to, and I really, but I don't know. I was heartbroken. I think I put it in a podcast we've done before. Somebody spent 10 grand on tickets for his family.
Right, that's exactly what I was going to say. We've
just
had
like,
those stories.
How you can do it?
People just go, we need to get all the tickets because we're only going to go once. That's not true. We need to fit everything in. That's not true. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And we'll be missing out if we don't get all the tickets. And people just throw them on a credit card and they spend the next.
You'll miss out more because you'll have too many tickets.
It's like people who overspend at Christmas. Please don't do it. And
don't do it. No.
And that's like years of experience saying, please just don't overcommit yourself. Pick one area, go and have the best experience. Take your time, look at everything. Don't rush around if that's not your thing. And don't overcommit yourself and overspend because it's completely unnecessary. The brilliant thing about Florida and particularly Orlando is the marketing and advertising. It is totally mind-blowing. I'm sure it's designed to make it a little bit confusing. And you think you're getting something when maybe you're getting something else. And also the way in which it's emotionally marketed. So you see the family with the smiling children, the grandparents and the child. And, we're having a wonderful time, and it only costs you £100,000. And don't do it. Don't fall for it. It's designed to make you spend money. Pick an area, concentrate on having fun doing that thing, and then go take another time and do it. But don't overspend. Just enjoy
we've never done the Space Center. Now I would like to, but getting out there on public transport because we don't have a car, it's a bit more difficult, So it's something that we're thinking about doing, but we never do.
But even if you just have Disney tickets, you've got water park days. Certainly, if you have the UK tickets, you've got water park days. You've got mini golf. You can have a day wandering around Disney Springs and wandering around the resorts and. Yeah, there is so much you can do that isn't going to cost you extra.
Yeah, I really, I think that would be my number one take-home message from this discussion is please don't overbuy tickets. You know what? If you go and you find you've got a day with nothing to do, amazing. Go to Bournemouth.
Do nothing.
Do nothing, Dave.
Enjoy your resort. Enjoy your resort.
Yes.
Enjoy your resort.
Or go to
or your villa
and buy some food and hang out at your pool or whatever it is, or drive. If you've got a car, drive a little way and go to one of the nature preserves and whatever it is that
This is
you
a
want to do.
holiday.
Just
It's a holiday. Don't try and fit everything in to make it a military operation.
And the worst thing is if you buy all the tickets and then you don't feel like you've had good use out of them because you're rushing from A to B and it's like, we have to go back there because we've got the ticket for it. You're just going to go home with a bad taste in your mouth and go, well, that was a waste of money. We overcommitted. We overspent. We can't afford to do anything for the next 10 years. And you're going to come back thinking, what a waste of my time. And actually, it's really sad when I hear people say that to me sometimes.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you.
Just, you went in too hard at the beginning. Just go with a basic level first.
Pick one or two must-do items per person for your family.
Yeah.
And make sure that they get done. And anything else that gets done on top of that is a bonus.
Yep.
Spend some time watching vlogs. There are so many people, including us, obviously, at the Great British Mickey Waffle. But there are lots of people who have content on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, lots of stuff that you can watch, you can read, you can follow. And then just pick out the things that really appeal to you as a group of people or an individual who's traveling and concentrate on that and then leave the other stuff for another time. It gives you another reason to go back and you won't come back with your bank manager hating you because you won't come back.
They might hate you after 10 years when you realise you've been going every year for 10 years.
Come on.
The cost of living is extortionate at the moment for everyone. And I would really feel awful if somebody who listened to our podcast thought that the only way to do a trip to Orlando was to buy everything and to do everything because we talk about that. We're really good at talking about lots of different experiences and we go here, we go there, we go all the time during the year. Robin's there all the time. She might as well just move there. And we talk about all these different experiences that we have, bearing in mind there are actually 8 of us in the team. So that's an experience, multiplied by 8. I would hate we've been going for years
10, 20
right
now.
I would hate anyone to listen to this podcast and go, right, well, they do X, Y, and Z. They go these 10 things and we've got to do all of those. That's not at all what we're saying.
Yeah. No.
Also, I think some of the things you can enjoy. Pick some of them, use some of them, don't do all of them. Save some.
Also, I think, we've mentioned this about, how often you go and so on. We saved 8 years between our first trip and our second trip. So, don't think that you've got to have loads of money to splash about. You don't. You can save up, you can take your time, you can do your research and, stuff will still be there and there will be lots of new stuff.
Yeah.
And, Disney's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So,
just grow
save up, do your research, enjoy watching all the vlogs in the meantime, and you will get there and you'll have a great time.
I think as well, Jill, I think there's so many other things to go and do that if you are very theme park centric, you kind of, or Disney or Universal centric, you don't actually go and see what else is out there. And we've some of our really amazing times that we've had in Florida. I've been going and finding different places to go and different places to go and enjoy, which has just been like a car ride. It'd be like an hour or an hour and a half in the car. And you then suddenly into the bits of Florida that don't appear in the adverts. And you suddenly become aware that, oh my word, there's some of the most beautiful places. There's some most amazing things to go and watch. You can go and watch the baseball, depending on what time of year you go to. You can go and watch American football. You can go and watch.
There's loads of concerts on. You can go and watch Randy Rainbow if that's what's happening while you're there. It's he's a comedian, people, just so you know. Just say that is his actual real name too. There's so many.
You're a few hours
bands,
away from Miami. There's so many other stuff treated with different things in Florida you can go and do.
Yeah,
but
it
even if you just want to go
Orlando trip,
if you want to go up to Winter Garden and go to they have like a farmer's market on a Saturday morning. Yeah. You can go. You can grab a coffee. You can sit and just hang out in a different style of environment.
Yeah.
There's so many things that are worthwhile a visit that don't cost you loads of cash.
But even if you are in that little hub within Orlando, you can go to Celebration and just go go and embrace.
Have a pint.
Oh,
Have a pint at the Celebration Tree Tavern.
Celebration is the most beautiful place. Even just an ice cream and just
Oh, yeah.
overlooking the lake. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that you just know that you've got there.
It's amazing.
Because and you've not got the pressure of being on an itinerary or having a fast pass to get to, or you've got a reservation for a meal. You suddenly, hang on a minute, this is my time. And it's just like, it's right there. And that I hope is one of, it's just one of them things. Florida is the most amazing place. It's not just for theme parks. There's another t-shirt. In the office.
We're doing their work for
Coming to Red Apple and Tea
I know.
Public by then.
Yeah, exactly.
We're doing their work for them.
And I think, John, you're the expert on things to do around the area that are not theme parks, because I know you've driven to all sorts of wonderful sounding places.
Oh.
And you played golf.
Yeah.
There's so many places I want to visit. I want to drive out to Daytona and go to Buc-ee's. You know, that's on my list of things to do soon. And
there's a few more of them just opened in the Orlando area, I think, as well, Claire. So that's maybe something for the summer as well. We can we can explore. Buc-ee's it certainly is. An upgrade on the normal sort of establishment
Wawa.
that you would think. Definitely.
I see your Wawa and I raise you a Buc-ee's.
Oh.
Buc-ee's Beaver.
Oh,
See, I think the thing is, when booking a trip for us, it's all at first we'll think of the date, but then it's normally accommodation. So it's like, because we've got Disney Vacation Club, it's like, okay, we can book in 11 months ahead. It's working out where do we want to stay.
Yeah,
and trying to work out what resort, all that sort of
non-split
stay. Do we do a stay at Universal and Disney? Where do we do a bit off-site? Are we adding a cruise on? It is you make the holiday fit the way you want. So I know Claire and John, you're in the Villa camp.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Aston Villa.
You're also on site.
No.
Yeah.
I
think it's
one day we'll stay in a villa. One day.
There's no right or wrong to it, Ben. I think it's what suits you as a group or an individual going out there. And if you want to stay on site, it's the most incredible experience. Yes, it's got incredibly more costly, but so has staying off site. So you just have to look for what it is you actually want from your holiday, and just make it suit you. And that sounds really stupid, because in some ways you want to give information across to people who are listening and say, oh, you must do it this, and this way. I think even and I think as a podcast, I think we've always said this from our very inception, is the fact that the holiday has to be right for you. We can't tell you how to go and book X, Y, and Z, because it's about you and about personalizing it for what you actually need. Yeah. I know we did a Wednesday where we were looking at certain elements of this, and Claire was very much into, if it's a villa, it needs to have this, and this, but not a fine kitchen. And not a fine kitchen. Right? But that's the degree at which, if you have a specific need or a specific want for your holiday, you can actually go and explore it. Yeah. If you want to go and stay in a deluxe resort, in a moderate resort, or if you want to go to the value resorts, you have the choice. And I'm not saying one is better or worse than the other, because actually it's a hotel bed at the end of the day, and you're going to be in the theme parks most of the day. There's no right or wrong. There really isn't. And
there are things to look out for if you're staying off site or if you're staying on site. Each has a different thing you need to look out for. So for off site, you might come across a lot of resort fees, which can bump it up quite a lot. Or
by the look of it, every villa is 15 minutes from Disney. Yeah, right. But we have.
I tell you what, Jill. every villa can be 15 minutes from Disney if you know the right
way.
if you know the right roads and you don't
Yeah,
There's
with
more
the
where
iPhone.
Disney you're trying to get to as well.
don't get yourself stuck in the traffic lights. Take the little route that just there's ways and means.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, there's ways and means.
Yeah.
And that's a really important point though, John. I think that, when people are advertising villas, whether you read it on Verbo or an agent, and it says Champions Gate, 15 minutes from Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going at 7 a.m. and you're heading to Walt Disney World up the I-4, 7 a.m, you probably could do in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you're coming home sometime between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m, it's an hour and 15 minutes to get home. And I think that there is.
I love Champions Gate. I'm not going to have a word said about anything that topic.
I like it.
But I know every shortcut known to mankind to actually make it as quick as possible.
I'm going to just throw this out there for people who are listening. If you're thinking of staying in a villa and you're not sure about the distance from the parks to where the resort, like the villa area is, whether that be Highlands Reserve or Legacy Park or Champions Gate or, Formosa Gardens, whatever it is. Yeah. If you want to know how long it actually takes to drive, drop us an email at waffleon@gbmickeywaffle.com.
Yeah.
We will happily tell you, because John and I have done it a lot and we've driven around an awful lot.
Yeah.
And we can probably tell you the secret shortcuts as well. If you want to know what the actual travel time is, not what it says, then let us know.
And also use Google Maps, because actually Google Maps. If you go to Google Maps, right, but you go. So in the UK, if you get, you're a bit bored of a lunchtime, and you're thinking, I've booked this villa at Lake Wilson Preserve. It's 12:30 in the UK, which is 7:30 in the US. Right, so you take a note of the time that it takes.
Do you sit and look at the traffic on the I-4?
Yep. And then
you know what? That's the next level.
I was going to say we've looked at wait line.
Wait time.
Yeah.
Oh, the the traffic.
If you go back at 1:30 and see how long the same journey will take, adapted for traffic.
I've never done that.
And then go again.
Never done that.
Oh, it's cool, Claire.
I feel like
You've never lived. You've never lived. That's it. Go.
That's incredible.
I need to put like the local Orlando news on, so if I can find it on YouTube somewhere and just
I have that on my phone and it pings through every day. Tells me
how long it takes to get from this section on this instance.
Yeah. Can I also put out there as well? The driving is easy. I'll cut across anything that it's an easy drive. You just need to go and just. We've been caught coming back to the villa more often than we've been caught going into the parks.
Caught by what?
Just the time it takes. No, you don't do that. No, that would be against my my professionality to possibly go.
The last thing you want is a state trooper following you down the road.
But it's the coming home bit, and you generally are just you get to the time of day, and you're just like, oh, well, right, let's go back and have a swim, and then you suddenly get to the I-4, and you're just like, we should have got off at the junction before, and then gone the longer way, and then back round.
Or use the toll road. Just suck up the cost and use the toll road. You'll save yourself 45 minutes.
Yep.
John, will you pay for the toll road? You're not that.
Yep. No, well, absolutely.
There you are. I heard it here first, people.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, even John uses the toll road.
Yeah, because it is the most amazing shortcut. It really is, and I think we probably will end up doing September, October time. We'll probably end up doing a show about the Sun Pass and how you can actually do stuff with that, because it's one of my biggest things. Always make sure that you, even if you have to pay for it, doesn't matter. You're paying for the car. You're paying an absolute fortune. Take the Sun Pass. There's a visitor one that's available, which I'm going to trial when I go in August, because I think it's a really good add-on.
It's really good, John. I have to admit, I wish we'd done it for us. to be honest, in hindsight, it just charged my card when we got home.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too fussed. I probably would have saved, I don't know, about $10 worth of fee the way it hurts.
Yeah.
But actually, like, it wouldn't have much difference.
It's so much
Yeah.
easier.
I never bother.
yeah.
I just drive through those lanes and they will bill me later. And I don't care because I'm having fun.
You're on holiday.
If you're on holiday, you can worry about the
It will
bill
come
later.
out of my credit card probably 2 or 3 months down the line. I won't
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
notice it.
Yeah.
Because it's all of like $20.
Yeah. The other thing as well
basically.
is a lot of people say, "I'll pay cash" and things like that. A lot of the time, especially if you're in Miami and you're coming out of Miami, a lot of the tolls are cashless. It's not worth it. And there's one when you come out the airport in Miami, in Orlando rather, you drive past the toll booth halfway on the way to, and you're like, "Oh, that's where we should have gone and paid." And you passed it, you don't even know. And you're just in the car and you're just like, well, there you go. That's why you just take the hit.
Can I ask the drivers a question?
Yep.
That some of our listeners and watchers might be thinking. How easy is it to start driving on the right-hand side of the road if you're used to driving on the left?
Easy.
It's actually,
grocery.
yeah. It was very confusing at first, but I think that was more just position of like where my head was looking in the mirrors. That was the first shock. It was like, okay, I'm looking that way. It confused me, but then within like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, it was like, okay, this is fine.
Okay, cool.
It's just, everything's opposite.
It's a really interesting point.
So,
And actually, Millie asked me about this the other day. She said, Mum, why, when we go to America, do you sit on the other side of the car? So I had to explain to her, it's about what you need to be able to see. So in the UK, we drive on the left and you sit on the right because you need to be able to see what's coming towards you. And that's the side of the road that things are going. So quite logically, if you're driving on the left, you need to sit on the right-hand side of the car because you can see what's coming towards you and you can manage the traffic. And she went, oh, that makes complete sense. Does it feel strange? I was like, well, for like 5 minutes and then it's normal.
Yeah.
Because you automatically adapt to the fact that that's what you need to see. And I know we've done a show previously where we talked about the different, Ben, I think after your first trip driving, we talked about the different rules of the road and, you know, all of those things.
It was interesting. Now, a lot of new cars, a lot of cars you hire now have a lot of extra features. I know we hired a Tesla, which when we put the indicator on, I didn't realise this at first, looking in the mirror, but actually on the screen, it's got the cameras that are in the mirror and everything down the side. So you can still see. It threw me completely because obviously
you don't need any of that.
You wouldn't be passing your driving tests with stuff like that, Ben.
No, right? You don't need any of that. Just look over mirror signal maneuver, Ben. Come on.
It was really handy. That first night, I was like, okay, where are all these cars coming from? I can see on there.
I know.
It was,
I mean, every car in the US is automatic. You're not going to, unless you're driving like an old school Mustang or something, or even a Corvette. You're not going to find something that's a stick shift. So you're going to be it's basically point and shoot and just turn the wheel. It's not hard. None of them are particularly high power engines. They don't really move when you put your foot down. You're not. It's quite hard
ones
to
that do are ones that go are electric. The others are just like you put your foot down and then
nothing happens. Yeah. It's a bit like the cars on the speedway.
Only not a smelly one.
Yes, and there's not a rail down the middle of the road.
Yeah,
no. But I just think it's not actually taxing at all. I think the thought of it is worse than the actual doing of it.
Right. Okay.
Right.
I put it off for so many years because it's like, oh, we'll just get an Uber, and it was just this was the first time that I actually sat and worked out how much the cost of Ubers would normally cost, and actually it was a lot cheaper to hire the car.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that, and it was like, and now next time we're just going to hire a car.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
I think now that they've stopped
freedom as well.
At Disney, that helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes. But for us, I mean, we don't drive, so we don't have the option. And it's never been a problem for us at all. Basically, we tend to stay on Disney with a quick trip up to Universal. Universal is dead easy. You can actually walk to the parks from the 3 main hotels, which are the ones that we stay at because they get you nice bonuses like free express passes. And in Disney, you've got the buses, you've got Skyliner, you've got boats, you've got so many ways to get around. It's so easy. And if all else fails, there's Uber and there's Lyft. And
we've stayed at offsite hotels without a car.
Yeah.
And using Uber and Lyft, hotel shuttles.
It can be done.
It can be done easily.
So it
Even
doesn't
public
matter whether you have a
transport
car or not. Yes, it's probably easy if you do have a car. If you don't drive, there are options at hotels. Some are better than others.
Yeah.
Whether you might want to spend a little bit more and go on site, where you want to be on a Skyliner resort, that's your choice. And we stayed at Endless Summer, one of the sort of value resorts at Universal, and the bus was perfect. It literally only took like 5 minutes.
And some of the good neighbour hotels at Disney have good shuttle links to the parks.
Mm-hmm.
If you stay at some of the ones that are closest to Disney Springs, it's just a short walk away from the Springs and the Disney bus transportation there.
And some of those good neighbour hotels do give you the perks as well of the 30 minutes before extra park time. So there are certain aspects to it that actually it might be worth it.
Yeah. I think the biggest tip I would give for anybody using Lyft or Uber, we used Lyft, is basically be at the place you want to be picked up before you order your car, because we missed one. Basically because it was literally driving away as we got there.
We were waving at it.
We were waving at it and we got charged. Because literally sometimes you wait 3 minutes or less.
That's the thing. There are so many Lyft and Uber drivers in the area.
Yes,
I have a tip for that now, because if you go on there, there's now a wait and save option. It's a few dollars, you save like $2 or $3, but it says between like 9 and 16 minutes instead of 3 and 5. So if you know you're at you're out a bit of a longer walk away from where you want to be picked up, it actually works quite well.
Right.
And use both apps as well. Use both Uber and it.
Yeah.
Uber and Lyft. Yeah. Because sometimes most drivers will do both. Sometimes one app will be cheaper than the other.
Weirdly, that's exactly the conversation I had with someone last week. Make sure you use both apps and compare the two, have them both open and go, right, it might save you $2, but over the space of your trip, that might save you $25, which is a couple of regular slushies.
If you've not used either of those apps before, they do discounts. About to coach you. So I think the first time we used Uber, we didn't pay anything till after our 5th trip.
Yeah, and Lyft, they give you a discount. They I think like after 2 trips you get like 50% off sometimes. It's definitely worth. And the price hiking that they do at park closing will look different, and availability will look different. So just have both options available to you.
Yeah,
and also
if you can at park closing, wait. Either wait until it's an hour or so past and everyone else is kind of gone, or walk or get to a hotel, one of the Disney hotels. So if you can walk to the Contemporary from Magic Kingdom or Boardwalk or Beach Club from Hollywood Studios and Epcot, then you can usually get an Uber from there at a slightly quicker and a slightly less price.
Also, if you use Uber and Lyft, I think it's called Lyft Pink and Uber One. They do a monthly subscription. You can just do 1 month. We did it for when we were over there at Christmas with Lyft. It cost $9, but we end up getting like $40 worth of discounts on Lyft.
I didn't know that.
And you get preferred. So where you've got the different options, you normally get an upgrade to each one, so you get a slightly better vehicles, better service.
I'm going to do that when I'm there next. That sounds good.
Yeah. And really, we found it very, very easy.
Then you can renew it when you go back the next time.
All the tips.
Yeah.
We went with Lyft, I think, because I think we went with Lyft because the name is around Disney. The kind of the
that's because the minivans
Disney.
are on Lyft.
Yes.
So
minivans are another option.
They are absolutely
if you're feeling flush.
If you want to splash the cash.
If you want to treat yourself.
If you're going somewhere special or back from somewhere special and you want to have a treat. Never done one, but one day.
They say that this
if someone else is paying.
This seems to be very good for families with young kids because they have proper kid seats and
lots of Lots of Ubers
Yeah,
and
but
Lyft do as
Lyfts and
well.
Ubers there as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can pick one that has an XL that has a car seat of the appropriate size for your child. So I think, all those options are out there, and definitely, I'm going to say that obviously when I first went on my own, I got a car. I hired a car, and that was because I was really anxious about taking an Uber on my own.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't done it. I don't take taxis in this country on my own either. I just don't feel comfortable with it. Actually, I think I probably would be okay with that now, having done a variety of different Uber and Lyft trips with somebody else. I think that I would probably feel okay about that now. But it was a real concern that I had as a single woman on my own, or a single person on my own in an area and doing something that I hadn't done before.
Yeah.
And I think
I'm impressed with all the safety features now you find on the app. I
think that's what's been
and it's
so
like
reassuring.
you can just track exactly what's going
absolutely.
on. There's all these options, like tells you, like, okay, it is something you're not comfortable with the route they're going. All of this, it's just on the app, and
you can notify people where you are and get people to track the journey and all of those things, which I think I was probably I think they've changed over a couple of years, but I was unaware of all those safety features that are in there. So I'd say that if you are traveling on your own and you're a little bit nervous about it, do explore some of those things before making a decision that it's not okay.
Also, if you're on site, they will get you back to your resort. It doesn't matter. If you're there after hours and you just missed a bus and you think, oh my gosh, there's just the 2 or 3 of us here, what are we going to do? A handy cast member will pop up and say, where are you going to? And we'll sort you out. Do not worry.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant experience being the last one.
It is, yes.
Being picked up from a park.
I've never had
What
that.
was it?
Yeah, we've done that,
1 a.m. in the morning to go back to Animal Kingdom Lodge.
On your own bus?
Yeah, on our own bus.
Yeah. We actually had a bus driver who was supposedly going somewhere else, completely change his plans and take us back to Port Orleans French Quarter because we were the only people on the bus.
Yeah.
So
this reminds me of a story I remember our friend and ex-waffler Lloyd telling about being picked up by Disney security. Having had
jump from the gate.
Having had a little bit too much fun at the Contemporary.
Surely not.
And not being able to get back to the resort and being picked up by Disney security and giving an escort home back to the resort. So they will take you home.
Yeah.
I just got into my mind that story. I can well imagine.
So I think we have done an amazing job of covering the absolute basics, the first things that you need to think about, do your research and decide what's right for you when you're planning a Walt Disney World holiday.
Are you looking to buy park tickets for your next trip to the Mouse? Head over to attractiontickets.com, the UK's #1 attraction ticket provider. You can also support the GB Mickey Waffle by using the link in our show notes and secure your tickets for your next trip to Orlando, Paris and more.
Planning a trip to Florida? Planning a cruise? Plan on just getting away anywhere in the world. Forward Travel are your first and only stop along the way, making moments into memories. Contact them through our website or through their Facebook and Instagram profiles and tell them that the Great British Mickey Waffle sent you there. And may your next magical adventure begin.
If you're ever unsure, and a lot of what we've talked about in this show is about making sure that you go and have the most amazing time. If you go with a travel agent who actually knows what the whole situation in Orlando is about, it doesn't have help a whole lot more than talking to someone in a shop on the high street who's never been there but has actually read all the training materials and things like that. So if you go to Portwood Travel, Karen has been to Orlando umpteen times, and actually her and Neil would probably go with great delight at being able to plan a trip on your behalf as well. So
yeah. So I think, well, that's all the waffle that we've got for today. We do have previous shows, so if this hasn't been enough for you, do dig out some of our previous shows. Lots of planning tips on there as well. You can download them from your podcast app of choice, or you can watch them on YouTube. As well as the podcasts, we have live Wafflers Wednesday shows. We mentioned those earlier. YouTube every Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. GMT. So do join us. Join in the chat. We have hilarious times. We talk about all sorts of fun stuff. So do join in. And if you want to stay up to date with all things waffle, follow us on our social media at GB Mickey Waffle. We've got Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, X, all sorts of crazy stuff. So do look for us. You can even email us. Can you imagine email sounding old school, but it does now. waffleon@gbmickeywaffle.com. If you've got ideas for future episodes, if you've got questions about anything that you've heard on this show, please do get in touch.
Or you want to know the shortcut away from Champion Skate down into the park.
Yeah. No, seriously, drop us an email. We are happy to tell you the back roads.
Yeah.
That sounds dodgy. Sorry.
I don't know.
Did you say you were going to show them the back road?
And if you've enjoyed all of this and you're now enthused and ready for your first trip or your millionth trip, consider leaving us a rating and a review on whatever your podcast app is. It helps other people find us. And don't forget, share the show with your friends, particularly if you know anybody who's going to Walt Disney World for the first time, because it could transform their trip, guys. Thank you again. And thanks to all my fellow wafflers for the fund of handy tips and a wealth of information that we've listened to tonight. And I think there's just one thing left to say.
Happy planning.
Bon voyage.
Take me to Orlando.